What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the third episode of Overcast Live, and Ken can't hear me. You can see, look at him, he's getting all mad right now. He's so mad. I feel bad laughing at him. He can't hear me. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat. I'm looking right now. Hopefully all is good. I just see that my eye went up in the window for some reason. For some reason, man, we can't get the streaming thing down. I'm so small right now. I don't know why. All right, hold on, guys. Sorry about this. Bada bing. All right, so right now it seems that Ken and I are having a poor connection. Hopefully we get things fixed in a couple of minutes for you guys, but so sorry. So today we want to talk about oh god, why is my video so huge now? Oh my gosh, this is a mess. I've seen people say that they love that this is like a comedy show. All right, I'm gonna put myself right here. I think that's about good. But why is it coming? Oh my gosh. This is such a mess. All right, I'm gonna put myself like this. And then, ooh, I'm going to drag myself over. Okay, that should be looking better. I got Ken calling me right now. Ken, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh my God, finally. Okay, I think we're all good now.
I have no idea what's up with your audio. It's like every show, like your audio just drops out.
Yeah, but so I was looking through Skype and I saw my waveforms going up, so I know that audio was coming through.
It's so weird. I wasn't getting any sound. It must have cut off when OBS kicked on or something like that.
These dang AirPods. Okay, so let me know what you guys think of the quality as well as the audio. Hopefully everything's coming in properly. Today's show is going to be all about the XDynamics Evolve. Oh boy. I've got mine right here. Ken is in a hotel room, so we can't really talk about it, but usually when I talk about something, I want to show that I actually have it, because there's a lot of people that like to make videos on things that they don't have. Yeah, so the real time that Ken and I have gotten with this thing is when I was down in Florida shooting the podcast with you, and we got to fly this thing around.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I would say that our very first flight wasn't the best with it.
No, definitely not.
We put it up, and it didn't seem to be really holding its position all that well. But eventually, we calibrated the sensors. Ken, you just went all small again on me.
Yeah, it keeps happening. And that's got to be something with OBS that does that. But yeah.
What is the issue? Because now it's happening to mine.
I have no idea, dude. I'm so sick of OBS. Like I'm pretty darn serious when I say I'm sick of streaming with OBS, because there's so many problems with the webcams. Yeah, I'm really annoyed with OBS.
Out of nowhere, look, and then my video just shot to be the size of the entire frame. It's literally, it's not making sense at this point.
Yeah, and there's literally nothing, like we have the same webcams, the same audio. Like it's funny, we tested this all weekend while you were down, and everything was fine, and then all of a sudden now we're having issues with it. So honestly, I blame OBS. I know they did push out a new update, but I think it was Windows only that they pushed out that update for.
There was an update, but I didn't do it because I was afraid I was going to lose all the scenes.
No, you won't lose the scenes. It's just, I know they updated some things to fix the
Ethan says don't touch anything. I'm not touching anything, and it just happens.
Yeah, no, seriously, we don't even touch anything during these streams. Like, we're afraid to.
So what are your initial impressions of the Evolve?
So initially, I thought it looked like, at first I was like, wow, this thing is pretty cool. When I first saw it at CES, I was like, wow, the attention to detail was amazing. Mm-hmm. Like, it's so hard to find like a piece of equipment that has 0 seams, and it's just really super smooth. And as you look over the entire drone, like, they really crafted the body to be very rigid, but they did the smart things around like the feet. I don't know if you see where the feet are. Like when you come down hard, it's like has shock absorption.
Yeah.
Where the legs are, so you don't have to worry about that energy being transferred into the frame. So it's pretty cool.
There's little rubber feet on the bottom. There's like 4 of them.
Yeah. Well, even to where it's mounted into the frame, it has like a bit of flex where it mounts inside of the drone itself. So the chassis is rigid, but a hard landing's not going to break anything or cause stress fractures.
I think so. First of all, the unboxing experience was awesome. I mean, just everything about it was top notch. They literally had signatures from, I guess, like the people that worked on the drone right there on the front.
Yeah.
It was a cool way to like put the packaging together or the paperwork together, because usually when you get those booklets, it's like you just throw them out. But it was kind of like enticing.
Right.
It was sitting right there on top. I flipped through it. Obviously, didn't really do too much reading about the drone.
Right.
The one issue that I had with it, and it's probably the only issue, was that the remote controller wasn't pairing with the drone, right? And when I ended up asking their support team like what to do, basically, if you've got the drone and remote controller within 1 meter away of each other, or if they're a meter close to each other, I guess that's how you would say that, it causes interference, and it would continue to go disconnected, connected, disconnected, connected. So that's not that big of an issue. And as we were talking to our good friend Dan, what he told me when I told him about that, because he said, "Oh, do you have any issues with it?" And I told him that, you know, the controller was not really properly binding to the remote, or the controller wasn't properly binding to the drone in the beginning. He was like, "Oh, well, the Hubsan does that as a safety feature, so that you can't arm the motors when you're too close to it." But I don't know. I would get frustrated by that.
Yeah, I mean, I would get annoyed with it because, like, what if you wanted to hand launch something? Yeah. Not that I would attempt. I don't know if I would attempt to hand launch that because the controller is so big.
I don't think I would.
No, but I did have an issue with mine where the batteries wouldn't charge on the controller. So I took it up because I thought, okay, I had 24% left on the controller. I'm like, oh, that's plenty, because any other controller, 24% is a lot. But I guess I didn't factor in that there's so much tech going on. Like you have two dual screens. I had this max brightness set. So I took it up, and the controller died with the drone in the air. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, shit. I'm like, I took off right next to the barbecue, and I'm like, I wonder where this thing's going to land type of thing. And it came down exactly where it took off. I was shocked. Like, and it knew to come right back down. As soon as the controller went off, like seriously, like 20 seconds later, it was coming down and it landed and it was fine. So I was like, okay,
that's better.
That was good.
That's better than it flying away.
Yeah, I know. I was a little nervous that I was going to lose it. And I was like, oh man, I'm going to have to explain to these guys. But I think the biggest thing with this drone is, like, it is very different than anything else out on the market right now. Well, so the entire experience.
From looking at it, you would think that it's just like a Phantom, but it kind of combines what the Phantom body style looks like. It's a little bit bigger, and it takes a lot of like the features that make the Inspire so special and cram it into this smaller package. And I use cram in a good way. I'm not saying that it's like a bad way that they crammed it in there, but really they made really good use of the space in this drone.
Yeah, I mean, there's some like as you look around, there is some wasted space like where you can see, but then again, I can't see necessarily what's inside of there. That top shell, I don't know if you noticed, but that top shell is a tinted plastic. Like it's definitely see-through. So my assumption is that's where the GLONASS is, that's where the GPS is, that's where all the all the tech is lying.
Makes sense. Really quickly.
So that's what I think, anyways.
Really quickly, guys. I am copying a quick link. I'm gonna figure out how to throw it in the chat here. All right. So I just put a link in here. It's a quick form. We're trying to understand a little bit more about our audience here. So what's great about YouTube is that they give you. My dog, man, he's going nuts.
What's up with Astro?
I don't know. So basically we've got this form. If you guys could fill it out, it would be awesome. Much appreciated. We've got what's up?
I just read, Lon goes, geez, I just noticed you're both wearing douche pods.
So
that's actually pretty funny.
Basically, that link I just put in there, the form I dropped in the chat,
Yeah.
That gives us a better understanding of who's watching us. So YouTube does a great job at like telling us where you guys are from, what device you're watching on, and stuff like that. But what we really are worrying about is what kind of drones you guys fly, what kind of content you're interested in seeing here on this channel. Also, like, do you fly commercially? So, Ken, why don't you explain a little more about that, and I'll go shout Astro.
Yeah, I'll do that. So basically, we're trying to gear some of the content that we are doing on this channel, and we want to make sure that we're like obviously not wasting our time speaking about a topic that nobody's interested in. So we know some of our audience could be split between commercial pilots or hobbyist pilots. So basically, we just want to make sure that we target our content to the things that matter to you most. So we really appreciate if, any and all of you could, go ahead, take that quick survey. It helps us out. That way we know what direction to go in.
Yeah. Cause
you think, all right, awesome. Thanks, Eli. I really appreciate it. Yeah. It's douche 1 and douche 2. It's both, Lon.
Well, look, here's the thing. It's like, I don't want there to be a time where we're making videos about, for example, what to do when you're in an airspace, or maybe
right, exactly.
How to make or how to do mapping with your drone. I don't want to make things that are like geared towards stuff that people don't want to watch or listen to.
Yeah, nobody wants to do that. And I think the upcoming podcasts that we have that are going to be set to be released are really good. I'm actually cringing a little bit because the topics are a little bit edgy.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited about them because they're really not about commercial pilots or hobbyist pilots. It's about things that not a lot of people have really touched on because it's so controversial and it could spark, arguments in the comments section.
No,
so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. But I want to just mention really quickly a couple things that we've done recently about our new partnership with Drone Pilot Ground School. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You sort of dropped off. So I know some of you.
I'm just looking here at OBS and my frame is made smaller again for some reason.
Oh, okay.
And
I didn't see that.
And then it comes right back, but when I go to try to fix it and I make it all perfect, and then that's when I go to be like super big. I don't know, man. It's just janky.
Yeah. So my thought is this will be the last time we stream with OBS. I think I'm going to take XSplit up on that offer for that free month, and we'll just have to we'll have to go with that and Windows PC situation for you to be able to stream just because I think Windows does it differently than Mac, but I honestly think it's just OBS in general.
Such a pain.
But anyways, Drone Pilot Ground School and the Overcast Podcast have partnered up together. We're going to have a link down in the description down in the bottom there. If anybody is interested in, getting their 107, or if you're curious about the Drone Pilot Ground School courses, there is a link there. There's also a code. You get $50 off with our link. So be sure to definitely check it out. Unbeknownst to you guys, I know you guys all heard we took Tony Northrup's video. We watched that, but the big portion of what we used as well was Drone Pilot Ground School to be able to get our 107s, to use that cram sheet. I know I took the cram sheet with me on the test. I didn't bring it in there, obviously, but I read it in the car just beforehand, just so I could have, information in the front of my mind. So if you want to get your 107, you're serious, and you want to get a 99% pass rate, that's obviously the best way to do it. So definitely check that out in the bio.
There's a link down in the description. So everything Tech 87.
Eli said, rest in peace, Skywatch AI. And I want to address that. So it's RIP Skywatch AI. And I'm going to tell you why. No hard feelings to them. It's just that they don't line up with our content, really. Yeah. Our audience is hobbyists that are considering getting their 107, and insurance is the last thing that anybody is honestly thinking about.
Yeah.
You want to get that 107.
Yeah,
so
and
that's why we lined up with them.
Recently, I've been trying to find different alternatives to insurance because there's been people that have been asking me for business insurance, and I think that there's a lot of other opportunities out there to kind of go for like a whole entire year with a certain company, whether it be like State Farm or somebody through business insurance. You get a lot more coverage for a cheaper price when you kind of lock in for those longer periods of times. So Skywatch is a great deal for going on the fly, but if you want something long term and you plan on flying your drone for business every single day, could get costly for doing those things on the fly.
Exactly. And that's sort of like, I think, a good reason why we made a collective reason to sort of move our own separate ways with them. Really weren't going to say anything about it, but, I figure we might as well. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Hey, Brad, we are going to be doing color grading and talking about ND filters. It is a little bit hard when we're dealing with podcasts just because they are sort of audio centric. And with color grading, we need to be able to visually be in front of there. So that'd probably be something you may look out for, like Billy's channel or my channel, or maybe we'll do a collab and just like sort of talk about our different techniques. Because I know Billy grades with Final Cut Pro, I color grade with Premiere, so that would probably be a cool crossover.
I hate color grading with Final Cut Pro, man. It's.
Oh, I love Premiere, man. Premiere is awesome.
Honestly, I use Premiere just for the color grading. I love it. I see Everything Tech is asking about the new Parrot launch on the 15th, which is what, in like 5 days. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I did see that.
I wonder. It's got me wondering. So when they released the Anafi, they made a bigger deal about it, right? And they had a I'm really small again, so you guys are gonna have to forgive me. So when they released the Anafi, they had like their whole entire website. There was one page devoted to it, but this just seemed to be like a Instagram post. So I don't know what to expect.
Do you think it's commercial or professional? They said professional.
Yeah.
Which was different for Parrot to sort of like put that out there, because I know when the Anafi came out, they really didn't say anything about that.
I wonder if they're going to be upgrading the Anafi to cater to pros. I wonder what they could do in terms of that.
It'd be interesting to see. I know Parrot was pretty crazy about keeping the weight down on their drones because the laws in France around drones are pretty stringent. So I know they had to keep the weight down. That's why the Anafi weighed as little as it did, which, I mean, it's, I haven't flown it since it came out. I went to Best Buy today. I was walking around and I was looking. They had the Typhoon H Plus there, and they had the Parrot, and I was sort of like going back and forth. I was like, I sort of just want to buy a Typhoon H, you know, just to experience it, because it looks smaller in person. Mm-hmm. Like I always said, it looks smaller in person.
It's nice to go to Best Buy. I mean, probably I would say like 90% of people buy their drone online, but going to Best Buy, which they have stores all throughout the United States, being able to actually see that drone can be definitely beneficial.
Yeah, it's like I'm not going to buy my drone from Best Buy because I don't want to pay the taxes and everything.
That's true.
But so I just like to go and see what it looks like physically in person, and then I'll buy it elsewhere.
You know what's sweet about living in Philly is you can take, depending on where you live, like the 20 to 40 minute drive down to Delaware and get tax free.
Right. So true. True.
Right over the border, they have basically stores. Basically every single major road, you go right across the border, they've got stores there so that you can just pretty much take advantage of the tax free.
Yeah, that's pretty fire. But back to the XDynamics Evolve.
Yeah.
So we did get a chance to fly it a bit. So our first flight didn't really go as planned. Mm-hmm. There was some issues. I think we were in between podcast filming, and we were just like, oh, let's take it out. And I don't know if we were too close to my truck or not, but it started going into the spiral. It was giving me a GPS error, and I didn't really slow down to think about what it meant. But as soon as we calibrated everything, it was like super, super stable, and it was on the point. And I got a chance to talk to development and support this week, picking their brains about some of the things that are sort of look like placeholders.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things coming for it later on, actually sooner rather than later. New firmware should be coming soon. But I was really impressed when we put it over into sport mode, because I was like, man, this thing's sort of slow, but it's sort of cinematic. But then, man, flipping it over into sport mode, I didn't think that thing was going to whip like that, though.
Yeah, you almost got it up to 50 miles an hour.
I was pushing it hard, man. I was pushing it as hard as I could. And it was a little windy. I had a little bit of a headwind. And then we were racing the Mavic against that. It was like we said, first to 1,000 feet.
I know. You ended up going to 1,500. You overshot.
I know, dude. Because I didn't think it was coming up that quick.
I know.
And by the time I hit the brakes, I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Well, I had to flip it around, man.
Well, that's the thing, is after we calibrated the compass, you still have to do that IMU calibration. So I'm wondering how it'll fly once all calibrations are done.
Yeah. Well, so they sent me a brand new unit this week. So because of the issue with the controller, they're just like, you know what, just send that unit back. And we got another brand new unit. And that was another really cool thing about it was I called support and I didn't say who I was. They didn't know. So I just called them and I was like, hey, I'm having this problem. And they were just going to send me batteries out like immediately. I'm like, well, wait a second. Don't you need to know how I got this drone?
Yeah.
Like you can't just send batteries like that.
I know.
So then they were like, oh, okay.
Dude, I really don't understand why OBS just makes my camera so small. Like usually it was you, but now it's me.
So I'm using the C200 or whatever the hell it is. Anyways, it's the 1080p version while I'm at the hotel, and then when I'm back at the house, I'm using the Brio. But honestly, I have no idea what's up with that. Oh. And I've searched and Googled and cannot figure out why the camera keeps jumping. It makes zero sense.
Maybe I don't know if anybody realized, but we got a new overlay. I think it looks a lot cleaner than what we were using before.
Yeah, I think I like this overlay much better than before.
You know, the focus is on Ken and I, and with the other one, it was just kind of like too much, you know?
Yeah, there was just way too much going on, for sure.
All right, so now I have to say, in terms of the XDynamics, I think the flight performance was good, right? It was a little bit loud, and I think a drone of that size, you expect it to be loud.
Yeah, but it was pretty loud though.
Yeah, no.
Those are big ESCs though, and I mean it's really pushing out a lot of torque.
The motors are massive on the drone. So now I think that above all, I'm impressed with the build quality. It's built better than the Phantom. It's built better than the Mavic. I would say it's built better than my Inspire 2. I think it is the best built drone that I've ever held. The carbon fiber definitely helps with that, but also just everything about it, from the controller to the buttons on the controller to the propellers themselves. I mean, everything is so well made about this drone. I mean, paying for that craftsmanship is one thing, and I think that we should probably address the price. It's a little bit expensive.
Can I let me talk about the price, because I did a breakdown while I was on the bathroom I was on the toilet tweeting.
Swooping? So isn't that called swooping? Like you're tweeting while you're pooping?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. But I did a price breakdown. So the drone is $24.99. Mm-hmm. That's the price of the drone. The controller is $9.99. Okay.
Okay.
So that leaves you with $1,500 after the controller. Each battery is $129. You get 2 batteries.
Okay.
Okay. The camera module on the unit itself is $300 for this module that we have right now. Mm-hmm. So after you break all that down, the body itself, for what it is $942. So with that being said, a fully spec'd out, I would say Inspire 2 with an X4S with a capable removable gimbal is going to set you back about $4,500.
Yeah.
I mean, price wise, it's on par.
I agree, dude. I don't know if this would be feasible, but it'd be nice if it had dual pilot support. Maybe if they included a sort of like a smaller, less expensive remote that could be hooked up as the second pilot.
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of ports on this thing too, so there's a lot of things that it's capable of doing. Like you can see a bunch of placeholders all over the place. Mm-hmm. So like at first, when I first looked at it, I watched a couple of videos and then I realized, okay, I need to not watch videos, because it's like watching a movie. If I look at Rotten Tomatoes and I see the Rotten Tomatoes score, I may be influenced, as I watch that movie, whether or not it was good or not.
Yeah.
So I try not to watch other people's videos. And I think that's the thing, everybody's going to have their own opinion on the drone. Some people love it. Some people hate it. I know Captain Drone ended up getting one. He seemed to really like it. Mm-hmm. He really didn't do much. He said he only had 2 flights in there. I've flown this thing probably about 4 times. I'm being really critical on this, and I won't release a video, haphazardly. Not with this, because there's a lot of details that a lot of people are missing. And I would call this drone, it's the LTE, because it is honestly, it's going to be a long-term evolution drone. It's not something that you buy. It's not something you're going to buy and then it's going to be like old news. Mm-hmm. I probably had about an hour conversation with Matt from XDynamics about this. And I can't say all of it because I'm under an NDA, but damn is it impressive.
Yeah, you know what? Another thing you've got to realize is that this is their first product. They're a new company.
Yeah, but it won't be their only product though. That's for sure.
Yes, they're a new company. I guess maybe this higher price they're trying to recoup their investment in making this drone. But you've got to realize that for that extra $1,000, just like you, I was sitting in my film class today going over everything you got with the Evolve that you don't get with like the Phantom, right? First of all, the build quality, you get carbon fiber, you get a massive remote controller.
The controller's pretty crazy. It reminds me of like an Alienware PC, I swear to you.
Yeah, so for those of you who are not aware of what the controller looks like, this is it fully closed, right? It is beefy, to say the least. And the antennas are built into the screen, I guess, right?
Yeah, they're built into the screen.
So you open it up, and oh my, this is the worst time for me to go small. It went to the top corner of the screen. Really quickly, you know what I'll do? I'll turn on the remote controller.
It's got, here's my thought on that, bro. I bet you it's autofocus. I bet you if you set your focus on your Brio, I bet you it will stop doing that.
I think I see a little lag in Skype, and every time that Skype lags, my frame shoots to the top left.
I freaking hate Skype, man.
Skype's
I can't tell you how much.
Ever since they were bought by Microsoft, they were the worst. So, all right. This didn't turn on, but we've got, all right, I'm booting it up right now. This is the remote controller, and it is a dual screen remote controller, right? I feel like this isn't even doing it justice, but you've got a screen down here in the center, and you've got a screen up here at the top, and the screen on the bottom shows you all of your telemetry and a lot of your important settings and stuff during flight, while up here it shows you basically the live feed of the drone.
So I think the biggest feature of that's going to be is with the dual screen is you can like sort of multitask back and forth between the settings. If providing you have a lanyard on, you can sit there and literally multitask. You can have a simulcast stream going, which is pretty cool. The built-in webcam on that controller is pretty interesting.
Like, look at the top of the controller, they've got a webcam.
Yeah. Like I've never seen that. Like it's honestly, it really is sort of a Cadillac design. It's pretty cool. But the thing is, it's different. It's really different. And I'm not even going to try to compare it to any DJI product. There's no point in trying to compare it to any DJI product because it's not even like on the same spectrum as far as build quality. Yeah. And that's the problem. Like, here's the problem. Every time a new product comes out, we're always trying to compare it to another brand. And I think sometimes that's wrong to do just because of what they are. So this camera that we have is the compact sensor camera. And I've heard people are like, oh, it's the same Sony sensor that was in the Mavic 1. None of that's been founded yet either.
It's essentially the same specs, right? We've got 4K.
Yeah, the same specs. It's not the same sensor,
12.4 megapixels. It's the same size sensor. Which kind of sucks because it's such a big camera. You'd expect a little bit more from it. Yeah. But another cool thing are the batteries. I love the batteries, and I love how they show the percentage right on here.
Dude, yeah, it's sort of interesting that they did it. Like when that was the first thing I actually touched on the drone when I took it out of the box was a battery, and I wanted to just see what the charge was, and I didn't know that they showed the battery percentage like that, and I was sort of like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I was like, that's sort of cool.
Once my camera comes back, I'll show you guys the battery percentage.
But this isn't a drone for like everybody though.
Yeah.
I don't think this is not every person's drone. If you want a drone that you can just buy and have like, be tuned to an acceptable form right out of the box, buy yourself a DJI because this isn't it. You have to tune this drone to the way you want it. Like you have to adjust the braking, you have to adjust the acceleration, the pitch, everything. Like I've sat there and tuned mine for probably about an hour, and now I have to. I wish I can export those settings so I can import them into the new one now. Right. That's the only thing that's going to drive me nuts.
Just real quick, here's the battery, right? And it shows the percentage right on there, which is pretty cool. I think that's awesome. And my cousin responded to me when I posted a picture of it.
He said, so Joseph Meyer says less than a mile. And no, we pushed that out. How far did we push it out the other night? Almost 2 miles.
I totally forget.
Yeah, it was like almost 2 miles, but the only thing that I noticed that differed was the image quality coming back. It was like it shifted to 720p or something. It wasn't a 1080p signal anymore. It was like 720p when I pushed it out.
I was looking over at the chat and I've got it pulled up really small over on my phone, so I'm not really paying too much attention to it. But I saw them talking about purchasing an Inspire 1 refurbished with the X5 for like $2,500. I don't think I wouldn't recommend, and I wouldn't even think about buying an Inspire 1 right now.
No, I wouldn't either. It's too old.
It's too old. It's got light bridge 1, so you get like 1.7 miles out of it. The flight time is like 17 minutes. I mean, that's what we get from the Spark. We get 16 minutes from the Spark. So yeah, you could probably find some pretty good deals on the Inspire 1. And for people who don't know anything about drones, you show up on a shoot with the Inspire 1, they're going to think you're pretty professional because it's such a large drone and it is a professional system.
Yeah.
But the tech in there is so old that if you can find something for under 1,000, grab it. But if it's anything over 1,000, let it be.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think anything over 1,000 for an Inspire 1 is a silly purchase, especially today. The Inspire 2s are starting to drop a little bit in price, so you can find them used all day long. Matter of fact, one of my buddies bought one for, I told you, an Inspire 2, crazy, only 5 flights. The lady let it go for $1,000. It has no camera on there, but $1,000, 5 flights. That's insane.
I know, and I heard about the situation, but I mean that is crazy to pick up a drone for that cheap, especially that caliber.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. Like, here's the deal. Like I said, we have choice when you purchase these drones. I don't ever get fixated on price because honestly, I don't give a shit what the price is, because if I want something bad enough, I'm gonna buy it. End of the day, it's my freaking money, and I'm not trying to influence anybody to buy anything that they don't want to. So, but would I buy the XDynamics drone with this camera? Probably not. It would have to have the Micro Four Thirds camera.
Yeah, and here's
for me to even consider.
You know what? I know that price is a huge consideration, but you've got to understand what you're getting for the price, right? So I'm using a 21:9 ultra wide monitor right now, and I spent $1,000 for this monitor. And some people, probably not many people, would say, "Oh, yeah, good buy." But there's probably another side of the audience out there that's saying that is the dumbest purchase ever. I could just buy a monitor for this much and it'd be fine. And I'd be like, okay, that's fine. That suits your needs. But you've got to realize that the reason I spent so much is because it's such a high resolution and it's so wide. I mean, this is one large monitor that acts like 2 monitors, and it's perfect. I don't have that divide in the center. And it's the same thing with drones. It's like somebody could say, well, the Inspire 2 is overpriced. I don't know why you would spend $4,000 on a drone. And it's like, yeah, that's true, but there's definitely a lot of people out there who could justify that price, because if it meets your needs, don't complain about
it. Exactly. Like my heart is fixated on a Micro Four Thirds sensor. That's really what I want. And honestly, I'm probably going to buy this drone from them and just buy the Micro Four Thirds sensor. As soon as they give me a price on that sensor, I'm freaking buying it, because I've wanted a Micro Four Thirds sensor with a removable lens, because honestly, 1 inch is cool. 4 thirds is cooler. And honestly, you're going to get better images. And at, 24 megapixels, I can really get some sick raw photos, like for what I'm looking to do with it, or even video. Like, the transmission, like I said, got it out. It was probably almost 1.5 miles, 2 miles the other night when we were pushing it hard, which was scary as shit. That was scary because the battery and the controller was super low.
Yeah, really quickly, I want to point out that even when you were that far away, it was really easy to see the drone. It's a black carbon fiber drone, but all of the
Did it look like a cop drone?
Yeah.
Did it look like a cop? It looked like a cop in the air, because the lights, instead of green and red, it was red and blue. I bet you people on the ground thought it was a cop.
Yeah, well, look, I saw that, and when you were far out, I had my Mavic 2 Pro, and I had that light on the bottom, so I could easily see it far away. But you were right next to me, and I could see it perfectly out there.
Dude, honestly, from the ground, when I was like looking up, I was like, this thing looks like a cop, like a sheriff, because it was like blinking red and blue. Yeah. It looked pretty cool from the air, but it was weird when I noticed when I put it in sport mode, that's when the colors changed, because it was green when it was in cinema mode, but when I switched it to sport mode, the front LEDs went from blue to, or no, they went from green to red.
Makes sense.
Because it was like, I was like, I wonder if that's like what they do for sport mode. I don't know. I didn't really read the manual too far with that. Because I'm calling and talking to the development team and being like, hey, I'm not going to sit here and read this. Give me the Cliff Notes version, and then let me experience this for myself. That's how I base all my.
I agree. And you know what? You were talking about watching other people's videos. It's like a spoiler when you watch other people's videos, especially when I know I'm going to review something, and I don't want to be like taking somebody else's opinion and putting it into my own video. So I never watch anybody's videos. I make my opinions on mine.
Hey, Joe. There you go. Scary-ish. Another sell point. I don't give a fuck if you buy this drone or not. I don't care. I'm just talking about, specifically my experience. Like, with it, yeah, it's a little bit scary when you only have like 15% on a controller that's consuming a heck of a lot of power pretty quickly. So it's pretty scary when, I mean, granted, it would probably come back to me because it came back the first time, but
what does he mean
scary.
by substantial?
That is scary.
It's talk about true selling points for the Evolve or anything substantial like the Mavic 2 Pro, Evo, and etc.
You'll have to wait until our videos drop to see them. We're not going to talk about substantial selling points. I mean, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I can list a heavy amount, but the reality is it's a very different drone than DJI. It's not that I can't even compare it to you. I could probably closer compare it to a unique drone than I could a DJI. Would you say that's a fair comparison? Like, you can compare it to a unique, but I don't think you compare it to a DJI because the tech is very different.
Yeah, it almost like the tech is the size and the stance of it looks a lot like the Typhoon drones.
Yeah, it really does, though. It sort of does, but it's like it's got a more of a alien-esque vibe to it. I really don't know how to like even word that, but so as far as the distance goes, I haven't got clear clarification because, like I said, we were out about 1.5 miles, 2 miles the other night flying recreationally.
But you could see it. It doesn't matter how far away you were.
Oh, I know, but it was nighttime. Yeah. But again, we never made it wasn't for a video or anything like that.
We were flying over the woods,
and I could see it from afar. I could see it from far away, and the video, the resolution was really clear and smooth at about 1.25 miles. As soon as I got a little bit past that, that's when I noticed like the resolution dropped. Like you can notice a dramatic difference, but I still have full control. It never stopped me from controlling the drone at all. So I'm wondering if their literal specs are you're going to get 1080p transmission up to 1 mile. Because even their battery life, this is what doesn't make sense. Their specifications on the battery life says 21 minutes. But I get a full 21 minutes between takeoff and RTH, like to the point where I come home, that's at 21 minutes. So it's actually literal battery time.
So they're not fudge. I mean, okay, so look, I understand that DJI isn't fudging the numbers when they're talking about their flight time.
No, but they're saying total time, but they didn't include that. They worded their specifications differently, which at first I was like 20 minutes, 21 minutes of flight. No. But then when I actually flew it and I was like, okay, this is literal 21 minutes. Not there's no fluff in there. So it's actual flight time is what they're talking about.
Now, Brad says, would you fly the XDynamics versus bring the Mavic 2 Pro? It would depend for me. Oh, he just retracted it. He retracted the message as soon as I said something.
So, here's the thing, Joe. It's one of those things that we need to spend more time with before, and I don't want to convince anybody because here's the thing. Like, I don't really want to convince anybody to buy anything because the last thing I want anybody to do is buy something that they would ever have buyer's remorse for.
Agreed.
And one of the biggest things, I'm sort of annoyed that they didn't initially just ship us the MFT sensors because there isn't a drone quite like this with that sensor.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I think if you're going to hand drones to YouTubers to do a review, that you should put your best foot forward and just say, okay, here's this creme de la creme sensor that nobody else has. This is the sensor that can kick DJI's ass. But they didn't do that. They didn't give us that sense. So, but when I talk to them, I don't think it's ready yet.
So really quickly, I mentioned this in the beginning of the stream, but I think that there's probably a couple more people in here. I'm putting a link. It's a Google form. It would be awesome if you guys could quickly fill out. I'm small as I'm trying to command the stream right now. I'm up in this.
It's so hilarious how that keeps dropping like that.
So if you guys could go ahead and check out that form and fill it out. It's basically asking you like what do you guys fly with? Do you guys fly commercially, and how often do you use Lang? So it's 3 questions that let us figure out a little bit more about who's watching us. So YouTube does a great job at showing us like where you guys are from and what device you're watching on, but it doesn't show us drone specific stuff. So we want to make sure we're putting out content that is going to be suited around the people that watch our channel, and we don't want to be talking about stuff that pertains to commercial flying if all of you guys aren't commercial flyers.
Exactly. It's just, we're talking about wasted space. We don't want to waste space as we're doing streams, as we're doing podcasts. Let's see. Ethan says, I think the XDynamics keeps up with the updates, apps, and features, and that's true. And that's one of the reasons why we don't want to just do a review on this. We want to sort of grow it. We want to collaborate back and forth with them with these drones. And I'm willing to risk, my own money on it to just see how it goes. I mean, it's a gamble anytime it's a new company, but I don't mind doing it just to see how the product actually pans out in the future.
Brad is talking about portability of the XDynamics, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's not portable.
Where would the size
not on an
outweigh
airplane.
the convenience of something like the Mavic 2 Pro? So I think in its current state right now, it's safe to say that the Mavic 2 Pro definitely has its benefits over the Evolve, but I think that as the Evolve continues to evolve over the next couple of firmware updates, we could start to see a really good comparison here. The only thing that I think really holds it back in terms of like performance is that camera, man. I cannot wait until we get the Micro Four Thirds camera, but right now with the current camera we have, it's basically rocking what the Mavic 2 zoom has without the zoom. So it's a lower quality camera. Now here's the thing, you're talking about it's not portable whatsoever, but they give you a backpack. You get
They do, but here's the thing: when I board a plane with my Mavic 2 Pro, I don't have to choose whether I'm going to take my laptop. I don't have to choose, I don't have to compromise on things. Even with the Evo, I put my Evo in my bag, my laptop, my camera, all my gear's in there, and I can still bring a carry-on. You're limited. So that means your luggage, your clothes, if you're going to bring the XDynamics, you can carry it on the plane. It'll fit in the overhead compartment. It's not going to fit under your seat in that bag, and the bag is badass. Mm-hmm. I didn't see a spot for a laptop in there. No. There may have been in the front.
I think it is strictly just the drone. You fit the
It's just a drone. It's just a drone.
The remote controller, 2 batteries. It's a big drone. It's a big remote controller. So it's nice that they give you the option to have this backpack, because I don't know if we're going to be seeing any third-party backpacks for it,
No, not initially. So you will see. We'll definitely see like ND filters and stuff like that pretty quickly.
It's nice though that they give you this backpack, because all right, you're talking about in terms of like a plane, right? I don't know if he's talking about a plane or just to bring with you down the street, but I know that it would be easy to throw everything in this backpack that you need: your batteries, remote, your drone, your propellers.
Right.
Throw it on your backpack and throw it on your back and walk out the door.
So
I mean,
so Lon asks, what about obstacle avoidance? None. No, this drone has no obstacle avoidance on there. However, it does have LiDAR.
Yeah.
Which is interesting that they opted for that, and that could be the future. I don't know. For me personally, when I fly with my Mavic, I usually have obstacle avoidance on because it always engages and screws up my shots when I get close to things, and I get
turn it off or on.
Yeah, I keep it off. No, I keep it off completely off when I fly. I'm sorry. No, I keep it off because there's been a couple times where I'm flying and I'm dead serious. There's nothing around me, not even a bird, and it like stops. What is that?
Hold on, I really quickly.
What the heck triggers that?
It's the sun.
Is that what it does? Really?
Yeah. So if the sun, because I fly a lot around sunset, and if you're flying towards the sun, for some reason the light hits those sensors and it thinks that there's something in front of it.
What's going on, Floyd? I saw Jerry just came in and popped in the chat. What's going on, Jerry?
Yeah, Ethan.
I am so glad we're having conversations with live Lon and not after Lon.
Right,
this is so much more enjoyable.
Trying to keep up with his 20 comments.
I can't keep up with it. What's the lens size? Billy, what's the lens say on that? Because it tells you the filter size, I thought.
So here's
would the remote fit under a seat of an airplane? Absolutely will.
There's the camera, right? And
take the gimbal guard off.
Yeah, bro. So I wanted to talk about this gimbal guard. You said you hate it, but I kind of like it.
I don't like it because it kept popping off on me.
I don't mind it, except it is a little tough to get off.
Live tonight on QBC, Billy and Kyle
now
sells you a
camera. I don't know. Let's see. It says on here.
Can you come in close?
3.7 millimeters, right? Does that make sense?
What does it say?
Well, it says F equals 3.7 millimeters. I think.
I don't know. I'm not adding.
What is that referring to? It's a 94-degree field of view. It's got an f2.8 aperture, and then on the left it says F equals 3.7 millimeters.
I know.
3.7.
23 millimeters.
I think it's.
He said. Lon is saying 23 millimeter.
Okay, I don't know why it says 3.7 millimeters on there.
That could be about right. I'm gonna trust Lon. He's an engineer.
You know what? I for you guys, I'll show you this. I'm not gonna include this in my review video, but the one I got for some reason, you see the back there? It's like missing a little piece. they're sending me a new gimbal. I asked them about it. They said it's all cosmetic. So I mean, if this gimbal, if I were to like flying this, there's no issues. I'm not gonna damage the gimbal in any way. But just cause they said they would send me one. Oh.
Eli says we should premiere the podcast again, so that way we can interact with Lon live.
We could try to premiere him again. I don't know.
We could try to premiere him again. I sort of like the premieres, but I also like the live streams because we get to interact with all you guys, and obviously it's way better and way much more fun on like Wednesdays, because Wednesday's sort of that like middle breaking point, and it's just super fun to sort of hang out. And I really do miss the live interaction we used to have on Mondays. You know, when the stream's good, we don't mind going for longer than, you know, our anticipated time, because it's always a good time.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think of the propellers from the Evolve?
I like that they're quick release. You know, I like that they're quick release.
No screwdriver needed or anything.
No screwdriver. I mean, they seem like they're pretty legit.
Yeah. And you know what's cool is they give you like this whole case, right? You slip the propellers in there and it holds them, which is nice. And these propellers, the middle of them are made of metal. It's nuts. They're really high quality.
Yeah, they did put a lot of thought into like all the materials they used. I mean, they put a lot of thought into the materials. Yeah. Like it's a new company, and I mean, here's the reality. So we're talking like people are like, oh, it's like $2,500, blah blah blah. Would you rather pay $2,500 for this or the Skydio R1?
Oh man, that's not even close.
Exactly. Like the Skydio R1's got a lot of crazy tech, but the camera's absolute dog crap.
And
this has got a lot of tech too.
I don't think I would ever buy the Skydio. I don't think so.
I don't think I'd buy a Skydio. It's just not practical. Yeah, it's cool, but I don't know. I guess it follows you. I don't know.
See, that's where DJI tried to get people in the door with like the Spark, with Active Track, and the hand gestures and stuff like that. But I don't think that me or really anybody else in the chat right now who's watching us is there for that.
So I was gonna go fly with Blue Eye Visuals today, but I had to take my truck to the shop to get fixed. So I take it to them, and now I have like an oil leak. So I'm really like, yeah. So it'll be interesting driving home. I'm hoping that like I can make it home, because I got to work Friday. I got a bunch of stuff to do, and it's like
it's better than
I'm really annoyed about it. I'm gonna try to take it to them in the morning and see if they can at least address that.
You know what I'm talking about.
Like drop it off in the morning. Yeah, I know. But they look like the Q500. So from my understanding, yeah. So the ESCs, they're bigger. They're bigger than the Q500. Let's look at the coils. I wish you can zoom in on the coils. They're massive.
I probably can. I'll hold it up once I go to my regular size. You know what, dude? This thing is light without the battery, and that's the same thing with every drone. I think that every drone is pretty light, but as soon as you add the battery, that's where the most weight comes from. All right, so here.
Yeah, so the drone, the software was created in China, but the drones are actually manufactured here in the States. Yeah, I can see it.
Very beefy motors. I mean, look at how big they are.
Such a big motor.
Like the size of my eye, bigger than my eye. They're crazy.
But that's sort of an impressive unit, that, I guess. I just thought about what I said. I said that's actually an impressive. I'm like, that's an impressive unit. No, that's an impressive drone. Like, if I pulled up to a shoot with that, they're going to be like, damn.
I know. But here's the thing, right?
Legit.
Here's the thing, right? And I'm talking to Steve about real estate shoots, and I know you're doing real estate shoots too. You don't want to disrupt the neighbors.
It's fun, man.
You don't want to disrupt them. And for him, he's using the Phantom, and even at 400 feet, you can hear that thing buzzing. And he's had neighbors say things in the past, and he's like, "I'm gonna get the Mavic 2 legit just because it's got quieter propellers or quieter."
Honestly, when I'm out there shooting, like like in Florida, there's like a lot of elderly people, and usually I'm like flying, and this elderly person will walk up behind me, and like I'll be like this, and she's like peering over my shoulder. I'm like, and she's over my shoulder, and I'm like, how'd you do that? Like, how'd you get so close? And she's like, got her coffee breath going. And I'm like, do you want to, and she's like, what do you got there? So it's like, for me, it's a spectacle. I just make it into a big show for the neighbors. Next thing you know, I've got like 15 elderly people out there with oxygen tanks, a fire hazard, 911 on speed dial, and free bottled water. So
you know what's funny?
It's pretty cool.
Steve was telling me that he left his drone case out, right? And some guy came up and just took it and started walking away with it. And Steve goes, "Yo, buddy, what are you doing? And he goes, oh, well, I thought somebody was throwing it out, and my son flies drones, so I thought that, he could use it. And he's like, what?
What? No, dude, no. Dude, people are crazy. Yeah, you gotta watch them. The elderly people, I love them to death, but here in Florida, they'll take your money. They'll just rob you from behind.
You know what else takes your money? Is casinos. We know that too well.
Yes, yes, we do know that very well. But we're doing better. We don't have any luck in Atlantic City, so Vegas or bust,
I know, right? Coco, the dealer, was riding for us.
Coco was having us go loco. That was a good deal. Let's check out the comments. I've never seen active track on any of the autonomous features. And Gerg says, I've never seen a person use active track aside from videos. Yeah. You know what? Honestly, that is so true. I never use active track. I honestly didn't even use active track when I was in Vegas flying with. I did all that manual. I hate active track. I'd rather just fly manual. I get the better result.
Those features are so gimmicky to try to get like people in the door, basically. Yeah. Like novice people.
Legit. Absolutely.
I see that DJI really promotes that through like their Twitter by saying like, one of the things they have is like what drones were like in 2012 and what they are now like in 2018. And it'll be like, oh, when you wanted a drone in 2012, you'd get all the parts and you'd build it and then you'd fly it. But now you just go online, you order one and you're good. And yeah, that makes sense. Then another thing they said, oh, in 2012, when flying a drone, you had to make sure that you have really good reflexes, but now you just use DJI's intelligent flight features. But I can tell you that most of them are crap. And I hate to say, well, okay, maybe now they're going with like the Mavic 2, how they made tripod mode in its own little like, flight mode. So I like that they did that because now it's not considered an intelligent flight mode because I use tripod mode all of the time.
I don't like the term intelligent flight mode because does DJI not think I'm intelligent enough to control my drone? Like, I feel like that's sort of an insult if you want to dig down deep. Like, I feel like intelligent flight mode, like, what does that mean? Like, is the person behind the sticks not intelligent?
No idea.
I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too far into it. I sort of feel like
you're like a social justice warrior trying to stick up for drone pilots.
What? Somebody's got to do it. There's got to be a hero somewhere.
I'm really excited to try.
Ethan says,
"Go ahead.
You're gonna fly it this weekend."
Yeah, no, how's the weather? I'm really excited to like take a deep dive with the XDynamics. Man, school's been taking up so much of my time. It's just the worst. But I can't wait.
I've got this thing called a job.
Well, look, man, you work from home. You walk outside to fly.
What do you think? I could just like stop doing what I do and just walk outside and fly my drone in the middle of a work day?
Yes.
Oh, you're ridiculous. Lon says precision landing is for pointless. I thought he said it was. Oh Jesus, we're lit.
I don't
must be all.
I don't know about precision landing, man. Like I understand the concept behind it, and I get why people like it, but I feel like people just think it's like the end all be all solution for buying a drone. Does it have precision landing? No, I'm not buying it.
I'm honestly thankful for the times that it did engage. I've said my thanks to the precision landing gods that brought the drone back. I mean, I can see that there's a point to it, obviously in an emergency situation. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I never use it like enough to really warrant, like, that's not a selling point for me. Like when I look at a drone, like my key things is obviously camera, control, and build quality, because I want to know that if I buy it and it like accidentally hits something or I drop it or I'm traveling, that it can keep up with the wear and tear that I'm going to bring.
I don't like when my drone flies itself, and I say that, but then I do a ton of mapping gigs and it's like the drone only flies itself, but like I don't like when the drone flies itself, especially return to home, and it's just like I'd rather fly it back home myself.
I'm just reading through some of the comments here, and a lot of people are saying precision landing is pointless. I feel like, Lon, I want you to go on Teespring, make a shirt that says "Keep your precision landing." Make the shirt. I will buy it. Send me a link. I will buy a shirt if you make it about precision landing. Not even joking. Send me a link.
Eli says if you can't land your drone, don't buy it. Okay, if you can't land your drone, don't fly the drone. I was gonna say don't buy the drone.
Yo, legit. That's too true. I mean, I feel like the audience is very much in line with our thoughts tonight.
Yeah, look, it's cool. It's cool tech. I understand it.
It's cool to it's cool to have. I don't know.
Can think of
I mean, I don't even know what to compare it to.
One scenario where precision landing is helpful is when your remote dies, and you've experienced that. I would say return to home, right? People will be like, oh, return to home sucks. But if you think about it, return to home is super helpful for those instances where you lose connection.
Oh, it says network connection. Oh, there you are. What's up, dude?
One sec. my Ethernet came unplugged.
Oh, is that what it was? It said reconnecting. I was like, you were in the best pose too. You're like, ah.
Okay, well, if you guys didn't catch what I was saying, I mean, return to home, right? People will call that an automated flight feature all they want, but I think that's more of a safety, a fail-safe almost, because if you do lose connection, you know it's coming back to you, and it's not just going to hover there.
Right, exactly. I agree. I mean, it's cool when it works. I mean, it's like all fail safes in life. Like,
yeah.
you know, when everything works and you don't have to pull out, you're good. God, I'm like 10 for 10 tonight. Honestly, we should just call this the Unfiltered Podcast or something. I don't know.
Well, okay, so the topic is the XDynamics Evolve. So do you have anything else you want to say about it before we wrap this up?
Honestly, I'm just excited to actually film and document, and then, you know, try to actually physically do like cinematic footage with it this weekend. I know cinematic is a really cliche term on YouTube, but I'm excited to try to film usable footage.
Yeah. So
does that make sense?
No, it is. I was thinking about comparing it to the Mavic's camera and the Phantom's camera. Do you think that's too much? Like, do you think that it like do you think is that? Let me know down in the comments or in the live chat if that's something you guys would want to see. If this camera looks as good as like the Mavic does, because I think that that's something people would be interested in.
I mean, it's a legit, but I would compare it to the Zoom camera then. I think I would compare it.
Brad says, is there any intelligent flight feature you guys wish could be implemented into a drone? I don't know, man. I think that.
I don't know, man.
You see, here's the thing: is like I'm not good at thinking of those things. These companies usually come out with the idea, and I go, "Oh, that's a good idea," you know?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, yeah. So I don't know, man. I would probably compare that to the Zoom camera, just to be fair, because that's the lower end DJI Mavic 2. I think that would be a fair comparison, because if the XDynamics base camera is not on par with the base, which I'm going to say the Zoom is the base, even though it's still really solid quality, then you have to almost buy the Micro Four Thirds sensor. But
yeah.
So you want to get to that? You want to get to that part where we do the questions?
Yeah. You know what? I guess we'll start off with Ethan here, because he has a question about airspace apps. So if anybody has any questions, we'll do a quick Q&A. I think that's a great way to end a stream. So any questions at all about anything, we'll answer them.
So he says he has an question about airspace apps, if you guys can help. So while we're waiting for Ethan to fire off that, does anybody else have any other questions that they have?
Blue Eye Visual says, I wish drones could read our minds. That would be awesome, but I'm waiting for drones to get voice commands. I think that's just... At the end of the day, that would be so nice, because as you're flying,
useful voice commands, useful.
Yeah, nothing gimmicky. I mean, look, hey DJI, start recording. Hey DJI, set my resolution to 4K. Hey DJI, bump my frame rate up to 60. Oh, this is so nice.
Why's it got to be a DJI drone, bro?
Well, I'm just saying, like, you see Mercedes has something now in their cars where you go, hey Mercedes, set the set the temperature to 70 or something like that. So if it's XDynamics, you could say, hey Evolve. If it's Autel, you could say, hey Evo. You know?
Yo, photos for the future's in here, bro. Mr. Jin Woo has graced us with his photos for the future. Right there, he's just there. He wants a shout out, bro.
Yo, I don't know shout out to Jin Woo. He's got to change his profile picture.
Legit. What's going on there?
Change that, man. I'm not saying you look ugly. I'm just saying I'm pretty sure you've had that for a while.
We need that. He asked for it.
Eli says, when DJI drones do auto panoramas, do they build and export them as a PNG? Why do they build them? You know what, man? I think that like a lot of these companies and software platforms are getting geared up for 360 video, and nothing is playing nicely with each other. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way to get like a nice 360 image off onto your computer to share with other people. You've got to try to restitch it through different software. It's just a mess.
All right, so Ethan's typed in and he said, had a situation today where AirMap said he was good, Kitty Hawk was borderline, and the DJI app was NFC. So I will tell you, in our experience, it's been the same way. Kitty Hawk and AirMap has been accurate. Now, those are accurate, and then DJI depicts landing and approach patterns now.
Yeah.
So and I'm not sure if you were talking about, specifically an airspace where an airport was nearby, but I noticed that DJI is a bit more aggressive, I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
And I guess they sort of are protecting themselves. Like they're giving themselves enough a leadway to not have a potential issue with their name on it. That's my assumption.
No, and I totally agree with that. And I think that, as the leader in drones, they've got to show that they're dedicated to making sure that the air is safe. So something I've run into is when you're good to fly, when you have permission and you go to fly and you go to unlock an NFC, it says error. Have you ever had that before? It says like could not verify your account or whatever.
I've not had that issue at all.
Okay, so I know that I've had it. A couple of people message me and they have it. So if you ever have a time where you go to take off and it says that there's some sort of account error or verification error and they can't verify your information, delete the app, re-download it, re-sign in, and you'll be good. I had it happen to me with my Pilot app because where my dad lives is legit right along a approach pattern. But there was no planes coming in, so I couldn't get the verification through my app. I had to delete it and re-download it.
So Brad Cummins asked, have you all looked at the FT Aviator controller?
I haven't. I don't even know what that is.
Wasn't that? I think that was at CES.
Really? Eli says 360 video is the worst thing ever made. I agree. I hate 360 in VR.
I've not shot 360 since a couple of houses. It just clutters my workflow when I'm doing things. Sometimes realtors ask for it, but it's just photos. They just want photos stitched, and it's very selective in the areas where you can upload them. So it's sort of annoying. Oh, the joystick controller, yeah. So we saw that at CES. We got very limited hands-on time with the joystick controller. There was a lot of people around it, and the people who were demoing it really they couldn't be bothered by talking to anybody really from what I saw.
Really, I didn't even stop by the booth.
Yeah, I was there for about a couple of minutes. I went over and talked to, was it Stride drone? I forget what the name of these drones are, but you control it with your thumb. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just responded in the chat also, but Ethan, you could be experiencing some sort of like GPS, difference between these apps. So like Kitty Hawk thinks you're in one place, and then AirMap pulls your GPS location and thinks you're in another place. And if you're right on that border, it could be you're over here or maybe you're down the street. It's not always perfectly accurate, so something you got to deal with.
Yeah, that is pretty annoying. And let's see, Bill says, think everybody should be able to use LAANC.
I agree.
I agree. I don't know why they have to call the tower, and they can get a hobbyist can get authorization by calling a tower, but I can't call a tower when I need a shoot done same day. I don't know. I think that's sort of a convoluted process.
I think that when you call the tower, you're almost wasting their time. You know what I mean?
That's what I feel.
Like,
I think you got better things
to do. I waste my time when I do that. When I used to do it.
Yeah, and it's weird. Like the tower by me is told my buddy, he's like, you don't have to call me every time you're gonna fly.
Yeah.
That's what they told him. I'm like, yeah, you do, because these planes are low, dude. Yes, you do. They should tell you. But like that's the thing. You need to be able to fire off your coordinates so they know how high your ceiling is. Because it's not just 400 feet.
Exactly.
So I don't know. I just find I take grimace to that. Like all the rules are so convoluted, man.
They're old school.
They are very old school. They're old school. But hey, does anybody have anything else? We're hitting 10:06, approaching a little bit over an hour into this. I wouldn't say it was a buggy stream.
I would say it was. Look,
I don't know.
Our first two streams were horrendous, and they've been since deleted, and we've restarted with the Overcast live instead of Up in the Air live.
So, honestly, I'm really serious when I say that we need to just look into XSplit, something that has lockable.
You remember Ecamm? Maybe we could try Ecamm.
You want to go back to Ecamm? But you said you couldn't do overlays, could you?
I'll figure out. I'll figure out a way.
honestly, Ecamm I thought was pretty good. We didn't have any issues. We had issues with Skype when we were trying Ecamm.
Oh, man, such a.
That was the only problem we had, and it wasn't even the software. Honestly, I'm good with going back to that because I hate dealing with this crap. I don't care if the stream looks a certain way, as long as you're not bouncing here, I'm not bouncing there. I'm good with that. You know what I mean?
As long as these people can see us. Okay, so I think that about wraps it up. This topic was about the XDynamics, but of course we talked about a lot more than just the XDynamics Evolve.
And that's totally fine.
I know it's a stream.
It's a stream.
We're just
it's meant to go off course.
But I'm excited to check this out more. Keep it locked on on our personal channels, because we'll be definitely checking this thing out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm going to work on it like this entire weekend. That's my goal, is to finish working on it and really put it through its paces. I've got 2 of them, so maybe I should just take one of them apart.
Yeah, right.
And see what's inside. My hair is awesome. Lon, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Lon thinks my hair is awesome. It is on point today. It is on point.
Your lighting looks really good.
But the lighting is good, man. This ring light is pulling it together for me tonight. It's funny. I'm having a better stream than I've had in my studio the entire time.
And you're on hotel Wi-Fi.
And I'm on hotel. I did pay the $4.95 additional for this fantastic 20 megabits.
I'll reimburse you.
Oh, you're paying me now again. I'm back on the books, man. I'm back on the books. We'll put it as a write-off. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for tonight's episode of Overcast Live. Again, be sure to hit the like on the stream. Do fill that form out. Check out the links in the description below if you're interested in becoming a 107 pilot. Highly suggest you check out the new partnership we formed with UAV Coach. It's a pretty solid deal. You are getting that $50 off. And I think we'll see you guys on Sunday night. Maybe we'll do a premiere on that one. Definitely. So that way everybody can keep up with Lon.
Yeah, and if you guys are here, you can only see this live stream like on YouTube, but our podcast is available on Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts. So it's available on a ton of other, platforms. So if you usually listen to your podcast on Apple Podcasts, we upload every Sunday night, so you can listen to it on your commute to work on Monday. Up to you guys, but it's available on a ton of other platforms, just so that whatever you guys use, we're there. But yeah, guys.
Thank you, Cole. Mike, what's going on, buddy?
Yeah, thanks for everybody stopping by. I think that this was one of our most enjoyable streams, and just because you guys have been chatting it up, that's what made it the most enjoyable. Anyway, y'all, thanks for chatting with us, and we'll catch you later.
Later, guys.